Well, hello everyone. This is Hank, and you're watching another episode of the Northwest Forager. And today is the first beautiful spring day we've had. It's sunny, it's nice, warm, 70 degrees out. And I thought this would be the perfect day to go down by the creek and to show you how much variety of plants are starting to pop right now, especially that spring is underway. And maybe in some of the colder climates, this will kind of give you a little bit of a preview as what to look for soon. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so stay tuned. Right now, dandelion is blooming like crazy. And one of my favorite things I like to do with dandelion every year is make dandelion wine. A lot of people know that you can make coffee out of the dried, roasted roots. And the leaves themselves make a really good vegetable green. If you're tolerant of bitterness, it's great in stir fries, it's great in salads. The stem itself can be cooked and used as a vegetable. Another thing that I like to do is pickle the flower buds before they mature and bloom. They make a really good pickled snack for crackers and things like that. So broadleaf dock is another vegetable to use because they grow these enormous leaves, and this one right now is kind of small, but the leaves can get anywhere from a foot to sometimes 15 inches long and massive. I found them as wide as 6 inches before. And when they're that big, they make really great wraps. All that's required before you use them is just give them a quick boil in water, sometimes 2 to 3 minutes, just enough to break down some of the cells. Because one of the cautions with dock like this is that they have oxalic acid. And oxalic acid is an irritant on kidneys. And so those who have poor kidney function or they have kidney stones, it's probably wise to stay away from this. But on the flip side, they also have a large taproot, which can be used to make a tea with, and it reportedly is good for liver function. So that's another fun use with this, but my favorite thing to do with it is to give the leaves a quick boil and use them as a vegetable wrap. So here we have nipplewort. This is kind of an unusual vegetable in that it has fuzzy leaves, and so texturally you might not enjoy it for that reason. However, I don't typically eat the leaves even though they are edible. What I do enjoy is when they get bigger, more mature, and they go to bloom, they send up a flower stalk, and before those flowers bloom, that's the time to harvest it while the stem is still flexible and tender. And those make a great vegetable once boiled, and you can even fry them up a little bit to help deal with the hairs. But that's a really good vegetable. This one's a little young still, but soon, maybe in the next 3 to 4 weeks, they'll start blooming and then we can pick them. Now, cleavers is another vegetable that has very, very gritty textured hairs. In fact, that's actually what they're famous for, is these barbed-like hairs which act just like Velcro. So, for the most part, this isn't something that you would eat raw. However, it is possible. But one of the things I enjoy doing is actually cooking them down and making a vegetable broth out of them. Because once they're cooked down, you can strain out the pulp and you're not going to get the irritant part of it, but you will get the nutrients out of it. I think what these are probably most famous for is their seeds, which can be used as a coffee substitute. And if you've happened to seen my video, Foraging a Latte from Scratch, I've used those seeds and they're remarkable in just how much they smell and taste like roasted coffee beans. And another interesting thing about these is they are reported to have caffeine in their seeds. So here we have Siberian miner's lettuce, and this is a very close relative of your classic miner's lettuce. It's a great vegetable to be used in salads or in stir fries, and they have these nice tender stems that can be fried up and used as like a sprout substitute. These grow very prolific in mid to late spring. Starting now, they will get very dense and they will start flowering within a few weeks after. Sometimes they can produce a little bit of an irritant, which will create a scratchy sensation in the back of your throat. So if you're not used to these, taste a little bit first and see how your body reacts. If it does create any issues, then just simply cook them first and that will get rid of that. But they are a very nutritious vegetable. In springtime, they explode and you can just get bags full of these at a time. So they're great for stir fries, salad mix, and things to add to your soup. Here we have dead nettle, which is a member of the mint family. These are kind of an acquired taste in that they have kind of a pungent smell, and they also have like a fuzzy textured leaves. However, they are a beautiful flowering plant. They have these purple tipped leaves and they have these purple violet flowers. They make for a really beautiful garnish. They can also be used into a regular soup as like a pot herb. The whole thing's edible. You can pinch off the flower tops and throw a couple on top of your salad. Great plant. If you can get past the smell, they are not bad tasting. Oxeye daisy to me is a really interesting vegetable because it has a unique sweetness to it. There's no way to describe it except it's kind of like a licorice type sweet. The kind of sweetness that it's not on the tip of your tongue, it's more on like the back of your tongue, but very delicious. The whole plant's edible. This is a young one. My favorite part is when they shoot up their flower stalk and before they bloom, snap it off, and it's a great vegetable. You can fry it up, eat it just as it is, or you can even eat it fresh in a salad, or you can again put it in soup. After the flower stalk goes up and the flowers bloom, they make a really good wine, and you would make the wine just like you would dandelion. 2 years ago, I planted some in our garden bed, and we just had huge amounts of flowers blooming, and I picked them all and made a gallon of wine, and it was by far much better than I could have anticipated. But the whole plant's good. English daisy is not the best tasting plant. It kind of has a little bit of like an acidic aftertaste. However, they're extremely common, and any park that has enough trees or a woodland environment, you'll more than likely see these growing on the ground. I would say, at the very least, the flowers make a beautiful garnish. They're such petite daisy flowers, and they look great on the side of a dish. And if you're feeling crazy, you can even pop that flower into your mouth, which the flowers are actually a lot better than the leaves. So here we have burdock, and burdock is probably best known for two things, and that is its enormous velvety-like leaves. And the second thing would be when it goes to flower and produces seeds, these giant seed pods that are very similar to cleavers, except only much bigger. If you've walked your dog through a patch of these in the summertime, you've probably found yourself picking up giant seed pods off of their fur. This is another plant in the aster family. The whole thing's edible. Use the leaves any way that you would cook it, probably in a soup stock. It should be noted that it can become very bitter, even more so once it goes to flower. The bitterness will intensify. I would say the most commonly used part of this plant would be its taproot. As these plants mature, they can develop enormous taproots, and in some parts of this world, it's still very common for this to be used. One of the things that's noteworthy about this is the taproot is comprised of inulin, so you can eat it without worries of spiking your blood sugar if that's a concern of yours. Bull thistle is definitely a good plant to know because, one, it's extremely widespread. In many parts of the US, it's actually classified as noxious or invasive. But this is particularly a special plant to me anyway, because most people disregard it immediately because of its thorns. It's an extremely sharp, spiny plant, and you never want to encounter it barehanded. So most gardeners will get rid of this as soon as they can before they get big. However, the whole plant has tons of food value. The taproot becomes extremely large and tastes just like sunchokes. The midrib outer leaves, you get this like a celery-like texture. And then when the flower stalk shoots up, the stem itself can actually be stripped and eaten as well. And now the flower heads, before they open, can be cooked and used as like a mini artichoke. And I even did a video about this just to show the food quality of it. And it is a lot of work for the amount of food you get as far as using it like an artichoke, but the flavor is top notch, and just to taste something familiar, it's definitely worth it. So there you have at least 10 wild edibles that are popping up right now in this springtime. There's easily maybe 2 or 3 times the amount of what I just showed, all within 60-foot range of property. So I hope you find this inspiring. I hope just by seeing what's around you that you're encouraged to go out and look for these things yourself. I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and consider supporting this channel. At the very least, you can share it with your friends. But I'll leave down in the description a couple different avenues that you can show your support, which will help me to have time to produce more content. So thank you for watching, and as always, happy foraging!